there's a Unitarian translation called the Revised English Version, which has been put out by a group called Spirit and Truth Fellowship, a non-Trinitarian or Unitarian ministry similar to ours, not the same. We don't have fellowship with them. They are what some call hyper-dispensationalist or ultra-dispensationalist group. They believe and teach and practice many things we do not agree with, starting with their view on water baptism. So-called spirit baptism has replaced or is above the water baptism, and you don't really need to do water baptism and things like that. They're a charismatic bunch as well. They speak in so-called tongues, which we question, but I digress. I want to show you something interesting they did here in their translation, which I have not seen in any other translation, and it's related to the covenant and the law, the Torah in relation to Jesus, etc., his ministry. In John chapter 5, you will see that there's an issue there of Jesus healing once again on the Sabbath day. And this is looked at or considered to be work, thus breaking the law of the Sabbath. So the man in verse 15, so this is the REV translation, the man goes away, told the Jews that it was Jesus who had healed him. For this reason, says John, the Jews were persecuting Jesus because he was doing these things on the Sabbath. But Jesus answered, my Father is always working, and I am always working. Now they left out to this day there, which is interesting, but I want to point to something more egregious I saw, and that's in verse 18. It goes on to say, for this reason, the Jews were seeking all the more to kill him, Jesus, because he not only was breaking the Sabbath, but also calling God his own Father, making himself equal with God. What do you notice about that verse, which is peculiar to say the least, because I have not seen any other translation or paraphrase do this. But what they have done here is, you see how they put breaking Sabbath in quotes? Now, why did they do that? Now, this is my theory. To me, that looks like what we call air quotes. I think they do this because there is a sentiment shared by most Christians that I know that Jesus really was not breaking the Sabbath. One interpretation of this verse in particular is that is what the Pharisees are unjustly or incorrectly saying about Jesus, that he broke the Sabbath when he really didn't break the Sabbath, because that would obviously mean he was a lawbreaker, therefore a sinner. I think that's why this translation only, as far as I know, has added what I call air quotes, which is not in the Greek, obviously, right? So that's a translator's bias. This idea that Jesus, really wasn't breaking the Sabbath is based on this erroneous understanding by many, including commentaries and the like. And I'll show you one here. This is, I have an article here called Did Jesus Break the Sabbath or Human Traditions? And I'll show you what I mean in the NASB MacArthur Study Bible. So this is in reference to another event, which is similar, Luke 6:9. But the point is, they say good works were especially appropriate on the Sabbath, particularly deeds of charity, mercy, and worship. Works necessary for the preservation of life were also permitted. Then another commentary, the Ryrie Study Bible, not to heal on the Sabbath would have been to do evil and to destroy life. To heal, therefore, to do a good work would be no violation of Sabbath laws. Now, I note here that I could not find one Old Testament reference that they cite, these study Bibles anyway, as evidence for what they're saying. Look, it's a matter for discussion, and I'm open to discussions, as you know, and to debates. But in the end, it all depends what law we are talking about. For more specifically on the Sabbath, go to our JesusKingdomGospel.com site. Go to the little search engines, type in Sabbath if you're looking for Sabbath. We have a whole bunch of articles from Anthony and others and dictionaries and so forth. And so just a reminder to watch out for suspicious, to put it mildly, translations and / commentaries out there.